Okay, everybody, welcome to the Society of Genealogists this afternoon, where Elsa Churchill, who's the genealogist for the Society, is giving a talk about the treasures that you can expect to find. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming to this session where we're focusing today on the Society of Genealogists Special Collections. So I'm going to be talking about what they are, how they fit into the Society's library and archive collections as a whole, spotlight on a couple of new collections, some of the new ones to see the work we're doing at the moment, and to see all the work we've been doing to increase information about our special collections, making more information about them online, and give some glimpse about the future, where we're heading with the first stage of better cataloguing and listing them before we might even think about digitising some of them. So I'm going to sort of show you how you can find information from our website and sort of demonstrate some of the innovative projects we've been working on while the library's been closed, and how there are things on the website you probably didn't know were there. So that's the idea of what I hope to get through in about half an hour or so. As you know, the Society being founded in 1911, we maintain a remarkable library, archive and research hub in our now 6th permanent building, if you don't count the temporary home at Holloway Road, which we opened up at Wharf Road in December 2023. So within the whole, the Society seeks to create the working genealogical research hub, which has, of course, education as its background, with information on how to do it. So you'd expect us to have education textbooks, guides, journals and periodicals, for example. But our main collection of genealogical records and resources really sort of splits up into sort of 3 ideas. It's, the sources for where your ancestors lived, with UK and overseas genealogy resources and records, particularly for the parishes in the UK and the former colonies where the British migrated to, including vital records of birth, marriage and death, church baptisms, marriages and burials, census directories and other local records. We focus on what your ancestors did in their lives, occupational records, education and apprenticeship, military service records, tax, criminal records, poor law, newspapers, trade directories, all sorts of things about what your ancestors did in their lives, and a large focus on collecting and compiling information about what research is done before. This includes compiled family histories and pedigrees, and of course genealogy research notes, papers and original documents. And it's really the sort of that which is where the special collections sit, really, in the sort of what's been done before and sort of what did your ancestors do part of our focus. So the library research hub is, of course, the collection of books, electronic and micromedia, which are currently on the shelves at Wharf Road and significantly off the shelves at Wharf Road, things in store, which means you do need to identify items in the library catalogue from the website to identify what's actually physically in the Wharf Road library and what needs to be brought in. All of our archive original documents, manuscripts, research papers, notes, special collections and pedigrees are off-site, which means increasingly you do need to be able to know what's in those collections, and that's what I'm focusing on today, particularly looking at the various collection lists on the website and things that we have compiled in anticipation of a new catalogue, which we're going to call Collections Plus. And then we do have online material from the library, either within our digital online collections or SoG Data Online, as that's known, which is migrating to a new platform called Online SoG Explore. And indeed, some collections from special collections are in that digital data, and if I've got enough time at the end, I'll speak about the digitized collections. But all the way, you really do need to use the websites, particularly the pages relating to information about the library, to be able to know what we've got and where is the stuff, because we're at that situation where we're listing things better, which does mean there's lots of different places to look for what we have. And while we're working towards a streamlined, uniform catalogue that looks at everything, we're not quite there yet. So we've made it sort of more fragmented of things you can look for to see what we've got. on the path to making it easier. But we are on that path and it will work. So in addition to books, microfilms, microfiche and CDs in the library, we really do have an extensive manuscript collection. And as I said, it was fair to say these collections weren't as well listed or catalogued as we would like. And that's where we're improving this work in progress to make them people much more aware of them, particularly by sort of doing focus sessions on this, or to sort of tell you how you can find out about them. But our archive collection are really comprised of what we call the document collection of miscellaneous manuscript research notes containing notes, ephemera, abstracts of records, which we've arranged by surname. And we are currently sort of scanning and creating digital copies of those eventually to make them available online. But we also have what we call a topographical collection of manuscript notes and copies of documents, particularly relating to a place rather than a one particular surname. We have thousands of roll pedigrees, which we're currently scanning and digitizing. And that's, again, a project that's very much ongoing to sort of make some unique items from our manuscript collections available. But the biggest part of these really are what we call the special collections, where we have about 450 individual collections in over 2,500 boxes, notes and records, which have an integrity about them. So we haven't split them up in surname order as we have the miscellaneous document collection. So the special collections often relate to several families that have a genealogical connection or are connected by place and county. Latterly, the Society has actually become an archive and repository for original records that have no other home, but which are of interest to family historians. And we have made these accessible and indexed those. And these have really become part of our special collections, but these are the ones which are more likely to be digitized rather than the 400 sort of the works, collections of the genealogist's work. All our collections are currently off-site in suitable secure heritage storage conditions in about 1 kilometre of shelving, and those which are not yet digitised have to be identified, as I'll show you how to do that, and then they become available for order and retrieval from the off-site store. I'm just going to have a look at some of the sort of the archive stuff in general to see where, you know, how they relate to the special collection. So I said the archives, the Society's document collection of miscellaneous family papers comprising research notes, extracts of records, copies of wills, personal papers and letters that are arranged by surname are all currently in folders and documents boxes, and some have been fiched and scanned. And these have come from a variety of places, often donation from family papers that people perhaps don't want anymore. It could be a certificate they don't need. It could be a lot of the papers tend to be clearing from old solicitors' deed boxes, which come to us through a clearinghouse offered by the British Record Association, who advise where records might be lodged, and they quite often say, oh, these are family papers and diaries and things like that, maybe the Society might be interested in them. And so a lot of these are in the miscellaneous document collection, the 44,000 surnames represented in those. The topographical collection again contains deeds, original records, or even copies of manorial documents, again arranged largely by place, but again have come through us from the same sort of clearinghouse through the British Record Association, advising the owners and solicitors who might be emptying old deed boxes, etc. Latterly, we've resorted the document collection, and that became the basis of what we decided we were going to do to list everything in the. Sorry, latterly we've resorted and listed the topographical collection, and this has become the basis of what we're going to do with the document collection and the special collections. But the topographical miscellaneous sources by place are very much a lucky dip. They're the smallest part of our manuscript collections. By far the most important, and I would suggest the biggest, of what we're looking at today is what we call the special collections. They tend to be in lots of boxes, though occasionally we might have a special collection that's called a small special collection, which might be quite small and niche, maybe one box or even less. But they usually look at more than one family, often the work of one researcher or genealogist over a lifetime, looking at several families with a common theme. They often arrive in removal vans, sometimes without us even knowing about them. And so we did tend to get a little bit overwhelmed towards our final years in Charterhouse buildings when we were having collections coming from all angles. So we had to put a bit of a moratorium on, get our acts together, sort out exactly where we are. But all of these special collections are housed in boxes. Some have been filmed or digitized, but by no means all. And while I'll cover many of the special collections in this talk, for further details, I recommend you see the PDFs of the description notes for each collection, which are online on the website, and I'll explain to you how to do that. I suggest you always keep an eye on the Genealogist magazine and indeed search the retrospectively back through the magazine where we've described the collection as it's arrived with us, and especially look at the chapter entitled The People Behind the Collections in the Library, which was written by Sue Gibbons, our former librarian, which she wrote for the History of the Society of Genealogists, A Century Family History, which we published in 2001 as part of our centenary publications, as there's much more sort of background information about some of the older collections there than I can cover in this short presentation. But new collections, special collections, have traditionally been listed in the Genealogist magazine. And sort of taking us up to COVID and our closure, there's been a bit of hiatus about mentioning the collections in the magazine. We hadn't really listed them particularly for the last 4 years. And so in this recent March 2024 edition, Christine, the librarian, did a bumper report of just over 20 new accessions of new collections listed and accessioned into the special collections. As you can see, the Genealogist magazine gives you a sort of brief synopsis of what we call a collection report. So the Eric Beavis collection was donated to the Society, deposited by his daughter. It's in 5 boxes, and a brief oversight of Mr. Beavis as a local historian, the family names he'd researched, and a little bit about the collection. And this is what we call a collection report. And previously, in addition to noting the collection in the GM, the only way you would know that prior to us moving what was in a collection was to view the old paper lists of these sort of 450 collections, which used to sit on the desk at our previous building in the lower library in Charterhouse buildings. So this is what we used to call the special collections card index, the special collections reports in the folders A to Z. And there used to be a card index giving you the names, just the surnames, which might be represented by a collection, a bit like this. So say, for example, the Turner collection would have surnames and linked families for Barlow through to Wilson, and maybe a little bit of interest on sort of European families as well. So again, we just give you a very brief synopsis of the names which were in a particular collection. But we now hope to give you a lot more information about what's in the special collection, and more important, you can access what's in a special collection available from home by going to the library pages of the Research Hub area of the Society's website. And there you'll see a link to what we call our library. And on those library pages, you've got a link to use the SoG library catalogue for books, fiche, CDs, etc. The online resources, looking at resources that we've digitised from the library that you can view at home. Some useful collection guides, which I absolutely recommend you read. But more importantly, now you can link to our archive finding aids lists. These are effectively the PDF scanned version of the old paper lists that used to be in the office at the Society, and which formerly could only be viewed at the office in the Society. So now you can start looking at the archive finding aids from home, because they've been scanned as part of our project to compile a much bigger and better catalogue. And so as part of our more extensive cataloguing project, the old online resource, the old archive finding aids, we can view from home. And we thought, well, why can't you view them from home? And so we've made them available to you. So you can take that link or read a little bit more about the archive collections in the collection guides pages on the website. But either way, they lead you to a shared Dropbox folder, to be perfectly honest, where you will find a scanned copy of the old archive card catalogue, the lists of names which are represented in the A to Z document collection of miscellaneous research notes, a list of the places in the and listings of what's in the topographical collection, a big spreadsheet of all the 10,000 manuscript pedigrees which we're in the process of digitizing, and our special collections, it's called the special and small collections reports D to Z. Now the reason it's D to Z is because we're sort of working on A to C to put into the new catalogue that's not quite available yet, but it will be fairly soon. So that was what used to be in the old collections card index. So it used to say, you know, there's information on the name Blair, sorry, from Dorset around this date span in the Whitmore collection, or there's something representing that name in the MacLeod collection, or name Blake, you can see one of the roll pedigrees. So they were never brilliantly indexed, but it was a very rudimentary name index telling you if the surname was represented in a particular collection. If you want to know more about the collection, we always used to say, go to look at the collection list. Well, now you can go straight to the collection list, or the collection reports, as we call them, which we've all scanned. These are the old descriptive paper collections, which used to be in those folders in the desk. So again, you can, if there's a particular collection you want to look at, you can see the collection report from home. So here you can click on the Hollingworth collection. That's the one that we've mentioned in the magazine, one of the new 20 that was just got listed in the Genealogist magazine. It's part, so we've converted all the old collection reports, which will give you information about what's in a particular collection. So here, for example, you've got the Cherry Hollingworth collection telling you the collection report says it's 4 boxes. And when we got it, in fact, this one came in dribs and drabs between 2015 and 2022. What her focus on: linked family names, if there are any roll pedigrees which we might have abstracted to put into the roll pedigree collection, and scanning of those, and then a detailed description of what's in each box. And in each box you'll find a number of folders, and we're describing what's in it. So this could be family photographs, correspondence, family trees, notes, extracts from records, all the ephemera, documentation and artifacts that a genealogist might accumulate when they're doing their research into one family, or indeed several families, as Cherry Hollingworth did there. So the collection reports go on to several pages listing what's in each box. And so you can view all these by taking that link to the archive finding aids in the library pages of the website. And there's another one of the new collections that came in, the Eric Uphill collection. Lots and lots of linked family names on there, and his miscellaneous folders within just the one box. Actually, he's got a lot of information, lots of things like linked family trees. And in this case, we've made a note that they were accompanied with some pedigree rolls, some manuscript pedigrees, which we passed over to our pedigree roll project to scan and digitize those. But we just made sure that we know we've taken something out of the collection. Along with the collection reports for the special collections, as I said, there's the surname lists, just telling you what's in the document collection of miscellaneous manuscript research notes, those 44,000 surnames, just tell you what surnames are. That's just a basic list to say there's something in the surname collection, by no means as detailed as what's in the special collection reports. And these are the reports of the topographical collections, arranged county by county. And then there's a report for for what miscellaneous documents we might have accumulated or have just been deposited at the society. And these can be copies, extracts of records, copies of records, or even original deeds, surveys and various deeds, etc. Again, because that listing became useful for us for when we want to go on to do future cataloguing of the collection. And now I'm going to share a secret with you. I'm going to give you a glimpse of what we're doing with all the scanned collection reports, which will become the basis of what's currently a back office catalogue, which we're calling Collection Plus. And while it's not public yet, I think you're going to agree it's going to become very useful when we finally get all of the collections within the catalogue listed properly. So here, for example, is the extracted from the collection reports that we saw for the Cherry Hollingworth collection. That's been listed into the collection archive catalogue. Gives you, how we got it, what it is, and again the 4 boxes of 14 folders. And again, you can click on each of these, and it will give you just what we've got, as you saw from the collection reports, what's in each folder. So box 3, folder 16 has notes compiled by Cherry on the Preedy family of North Oxfordshire. These have got research notes, photographs of graves, an article that she published for the Oxfordshire Family Historian Journal, and actually a transcript of the lease, not the original document in this case, for relating to Samuel Churchill and John Churchill and Joseph Preedy in 1794, extracts and abstractions made relating to enclosure awards, relating to the family, notes on deeds for the family. So again, the folder details from the collection reports are very useful. But the nice thing that the archive catalogue that we can do at the moment, and hopefully you will be able to do when this becomes public at some point, is that we can use a free text search across all of the collections, because the collection reports that you can see at the moment only allow you to see what's within one particular collection, but the ability to search across them all is quite remarkable. So, a quick search for anything that relating to a Samuel Churchill does pop up that there's something in that folder of the Preedy family, as I said, relating to that abstracts of the leases that we saw again. And again, if you view that, it takes you to that page that I showed you, which you could open up again. That I'd search for Samuel Churchill, and that material had come across. So while this isn't yet available for public use, and we've only got a very few of the more recent collections noted in the catalogue, there is work on retrospectively using all the digitised and scanned collection reports to update this catalogue. And we hope to integrate the catalogue into SoG Explore in due course, so that you will be able to search across them. So at the moment, while you can search sort of the old paper, a rather rudimentary index, and the collection reports, collection by collection, making the ability to search across them is something we're really looking forward to and we think is going to be useful. So if you want to view the collection, I'm afraid at the moment, most of them you do have to view by coming to the library. And so there is information on how to visit and plan your visit on the library pages of the website. You'll need to book a place using the link on the visit page, which takes you to the booking portal in the membership area. And that, as well as booking a place, you need to order in whatever collection of materials you want from storage. So we do ask you to put your request in at least a week in advance. If you do need to come to the library with less than 7 days notice, please contact the library team and we'll do our best to accommodate you, because we have deliveries coming into the library on most days when we're open. So we might be able to squeeze something in quickly if we can. But when you booked your place, fill in the booking form, identify the item, the collection that you want, and you can request up to 5 items per visit. So it's normally, effectively, it's a box. So if the Hollingworth collection was 4 boxes, that's probably 4 of your 5 items that you can order in. So that's the booking page, visit by visit, where you can book your visit. It gives you a sort of checklist and things to remind you and what you can do, and gives you a link to the collections order form. And again, if you're obviously a member, a full member, you could just make a booking place. If you're an associate member or a non-member, you would have to pay a small fee to use the library for that day. But having ordered the collection, it's there waiting and ready for you when you come into the Society's library. We've retrieved it from store. So there are the 4 boxes of the Hollingworth collection and the one collection of the Uphill collection. Is actually the Eric Uphill collection. It was donated by his daughter Patricia. I think that's what happened. So the collection had a bit of a name change there. And again, so you can see each of the folders that's identified within the collection. So that was the Hollingworth collection, volume box 3, volume 16. So folder 16, and you can bring out the information that you want. And it can say it could be pedigrees, transcripts of documents, in this case like a lease, all sorts of other sources that someone may have looked at. So I want to look a bit further at what you might find within the special collections. Like I say, they're usually the work of a genealogist looking at several families that might be connected. So they could be county family pedigrees and notes, such as the Rogers and Glencross notes on Cornish families, or the Campling and Whitehead notes on East Anglian families, or the Snell Berkshire families notes, or even Boyd's inhabitants of London notes on some 60,000 families connected to London. They might be a large one-name study. They might be the professional research papers of a professional genealogist, such as the Chris Watts professional research papers into his work on merchant seaman families. He wrote the book on My Ancestor Was a Merchant Seaman. Again, so they range from dedicated amateurs to quite considered professional research. Some of them are absolutely beautiful. The photographs from the Sear collection, the work of David Edward Sear, donated to us in 1998, a large extended family history. The family were particularly connected with confectionery and tea selling, and these 4 boxes contain lots of fascinating pictures and information on shopkeepers. Some absolutely delights to be found in that one. And for example, the Scottish families of the MacLeod papers, the research papers of a professional team of researchers, the Reverend Walter and John MacLeod of Edinburgh, working from the late 19th into the middle of the 20th century, some 70 boxes of notes, extracts of records, drop line pedigrees, etc., relating to families, or the Williams collection, his 104 volumes of pedigrees and biographical notes compiled by the Reverend Thomas Williams of Aston Clinton, which he gave us in 1914. So we're going from manuscript notes, extracts from documents, to computer printouts and digitized photographs. Several of the collections are the work of people undertaking what's known as a one-name study. The Do collection is an enormous one-name study. Another enormous collection, which is almost a one-name study, is the Fry collection, which is compiled by an eminent genealogist and antiquarian, Edward Alexander Fry. He's a relative of Stephen Fry, who came to look at the scores of handwritten volumes and notes and extracts from records, which, as part of his process of recording his Who Do You Think You Are television programme. So quite often they arrive in a very big removal van with all sorts of things, and we, our volunteers box them up and sort them out. Here, the Haskell One Name Study is currently at 66 volumes. Many of the special collections can contain personal family papers, letters and diaries, such as the 1788 diary of an English gentleman, Thomas Ridout, who was captured by Indians in Ohio in America while collecting debts owed to him. We hold several collections of notes and pedigrees relating to Anglo-Jewish families. And indeed, the Thomas Collier Ferguson collection, the Hymson collection of Darcy Hart and Isabel Mordy have been deposited and donated to the Society. We've had quite a lot of interest from the academic world recently about the Sir Thomas Collier Ferguson collection, and indeed his collection of pedigrees and newspaper cuttings and notes on individual families has actually been used as an exhibition at Ighton Moat recently, which was a country house owned by Sir Thomas Collier Ferguson. So again, notes on the Jewish pedigrees contained within it, and his handwriting as a typical antiquarian genealogist. Sometimes it's beautiful because he translates things like Hebrew tombstone inscriptions, but sometimes his own handwriting is a bit of a challenge to read. That's like mine, so can't criticise him at all. So those are some of the manuscript special collections and how you can use the old lists from home and how those lists are being used to create a better catalogue, which we hope will make available to you shortly soon. But some of the special collections have been digitised for you to view online from home. And these have largely been where the Society has been an archive of original documents in our special collections, which we've added value to by indexing them, or and in some cases making the images of the records available to search online. Hitherto, they've been made available on what we called SoG Data Online, but we are currently in the process of migrating from SoG Data Online, because it's a platform we'd had for about 10 or 15 years now, and we're moving it over to what we call SoG Explore. So essentially, you have to look at both the digital collections and SoG Data Online and our collections, and SoG Explore is the sort of new, more robust platform which gives you more search functionality, etc. But the kind of things that we've got from the original records housed by the Society, where we have either indexed them or even made digital copies of the documents themselves, could be the Teachers Registration Council, Civil Service Evidence of Age, the Index to the Trinity House Petitions, the Bank of England Wills, Customs and Excise Personnel, a very eclectic collection of sort of original records, lots of indexed records, particularly the things like the millions of entries of names in Boyd's Marriage Index, extracts and indexes to wills, parish registers, monumental inscriptions, etc. And indeed, often some digitised books from the library have been digitised as well. But it's the original records as from the special collections put online that I want to focus on here. The Society is always focused on apprenticeship material, and we have indexed the tax levied on apprenticeships from 1710 to 1773. We have some original apprentice material documents from family papers, and these link into some of the things which have been digitised online, such as the London City Livery Company apprenticeship index databases, which are on Find My Past, and these end up with a story of both sides of the apprenticeship, the family side, their relationship with the distillers company, and the tax levied on that apprenticeship. The apprenticeship material has migrated from the digital collections in SoG Data Online onto SoG Explore, and one of the original documents from the collection of original apprentice indentures, known to us as our crisp apprentice indents, has been digitised there through SoG Explore. Some of the things we're waiting to migrate over can be the Teachers Registration Council registers from 1902 to 1948. This is a very typical example of where the Society's library has accepted records, original records, which nobody else wanted. I mean, we're not a place of public deposit, but we're often a record office of last resort, taking in records that haven't found a home at the National Archives or similar repositories. And so the Teachers Registration Council registers gives the career details of teachers who elected to register with the council between 1902 and 1949, showing where they trained and where they worked. This is still in the old system at the moment, but it will keep an eye on SoG Explore because it's probably going to migrate over very soon. Other collections that, such as the Civil Service Evidences of Age. Again, this is a collection that the National Archive didn't want, but again, we digitised the evidences compiled and collected by the Civil Service Commission. It's indexed currently with images on SoG Data Online. We've created a database and images of the records of the Customs and Excise personnel registers relating to officers born between 1833 and 1911. Again, these might complement the pension records, which are at the National Archives, but they didn't want these. And so we had a project of volunteers working and put these on SoG Data Online. The index to the Trinity House petitions from 1780 to 1890 contain a huge amount of biographical information on the families of seamen who applied for alms and financial assistance from the Trinity House charity, perhaps after the mariner had died, or in some cases after he'd been taken prisoner in the Napoleonic Wars. So here is the petition for Emily Darnell, showing the life of her husband had gone to sea at the age of 10, the ships he'd served on from boy to master, the children that she had been left with after he died in 1857, and her petition asking for alms. At the moment, only the index is online, and we supply you with a copy of the petition from digital copies we have back at the library through our search copy service. And another index that's online is the Bank of England wills with images. Again, a collection of hundreds of volumes of abstracts of wills donated to the Society by the Bank of England, showing testators bequeathing government stock, or where the Bank of England was administrating the investments holdings of persons declared lunatics. Again, these are supplements to what you might find in the will itself. So here's a memoranda of the stock that the testator held at his death, and it's mentioned bequeathed in his will, but again, more details than you probably find in the will. This was our first computer indexing project, and the indexing and the images are currently on SoG Data Online, but again, will transfer over to SoG Explore henceforth. So of course, if you can't find something online because we haven't yet digitized it, but you know we have the collection because it's listed through the collection reports that you can view. You can come to view the collection yourself in person, and if you can't visit the library in person, the genealogy team can offer a very limited search copy service. If there's an item within the collection you want looking at, having looked at the collection report, we can give you a quote to search and see if copies can be made. So again, there's information about that on the library pages of the website. You can contact us through the hello@sog.org UK email, and that inquiry about a particular collection will be passed on to me and my assistant Ginny, and we can let you know if we can search or make copies within the collection if it's viable. So